it feels like an appropriate day for a hat. I've got my hats on my wall lined up. You've got your hat on. Are you a hat guy every day that you go to training camp?
Yeah, I always wear one when I'm working, when I'm coaching. Yeah. And
so
I wear hats a lot. Yeah, in general, I guess.
Okay. Is there a lot of thought process that goes into your daily hat selection? Because some guys are weird about this. How are you with that process?
I don't have any superstitions, if that's what you're getting at. I just wear whatever I'm feeling that day, but there's no superstition involved. Okay.
And that was leading to my next question. So you're not superstitious at all. You have no superstition.
I don't want to be bound by wearing the same underwear or some sweaty hat or whatever. I don't believe in any of this.
No boundaries in that regard.
That's not
okay.
Good.
Okay, with the superstition question out of the way, you just recently wrapped up the first scrimmage of fall camp. From your perspective, under the hat, how would you rate that overall first scrimmage?
Well, the main thing we wanted to accomplish today was take care of the football and, just play clean ball. And I thought we did that for the most part. We didn't have any turnovers. We didn't even have a ball on the ground as far as there were no fumbles on the ground or anything like that. We had one near interception. That would be the only bad play that way. And then we had very few penalties. I think we had one holding penalty, one false start, and one delay of game. So, and that was more my fault than the players. So those two areas, I thought we did a good job just keeping the game clean. Obviously, in a first scrimmage, your execution is never quite there yet. So there's a lot of plays today that were a little bit disappointing. You want to see better execution, and I'm confident that that's coming. But as far as taking care of the ball and the penalties, it was all positive.
Okay, 2 follow-up questions to that. The first dealing with the turnovers, because this is a team that only turned the ball over 12 total times last year, 4 in one game against Boise State. I mean, you've been very good taking care of the ball. What's the key to success there? Because that has seemed to be a real boon of success for BYU over the last 2 years.
Well, I just told you I'm not superstitious, but I'm nervous now about talking about how well we've taken care of the ball and having the tide go the other way on us this year. But I think, we emphasize it a lot, as much as more than any team I've ever been a part of. It's literally the only thing Kalani ever talks about to the offense is about taking care of the ball. Everything else he leaves to the offensive coaches, but he emphasizes taking care of the football. It's part of our game plan. Always just, I don't want to get into details of that, but we try to be as smart as we can about taking care of the football, how many risks we take, and then we practice the heck out of carrying it the right way, holding it the right way, and everybody does that. Every good Division I team is going to do that. I just think that we have players here who are really conscientious about it, and guys that believe in our program and what we're doing and understand how important the ball is. And so I got to give most of the credit to our players. They're the ones that are playing in the game, and they're the ones that are hanging on to it.
Now, my second follow-up question to your comments on the training camp scrimmage deals with your playbook. How much more expansive is your playbook from last year to this year, given that you bring back your starting quarterback specifically?
It's very similar to last year. There's, I wouldn't say there's not more offense than there was a year ago. It's just we put it in a little bit faster this year because we had a veteran team. So our installation, we got through it more quickly than normal, just to give the veteran players, a challenge in those early practices. And, the downside of that is just the young players have been having a tough time catching up. But what I saw in the scrimmage today was some young players start to show that they're figuring it out, and some guys did some good things out there. And but the overall volume isn't a lot different. And then,
How much does what happens in today's scrimmage affect what you do over the remainder of camp? Like, is this first scrimmage kind of like, okay, this is clearly what we need to work on. And so you adjust like the practice plan based on what you saw today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there were some things that showed up today that I've already got in my mind. Hey, we need to emphasize this on Monday. And then, the other thing that comes to mind from today's scrimmage is just, you start thinking ahead to the next scrimmage. Okay, well, how much, there were some guys today that were limited, some guys that were held out entirely, a few guys that were limited, and then some guys that went live tackle to the ground. And so now you start saying, okay, well, next scrimmage, do we hold out, more people, or no, do a couple of the guys that got held out need to play more? So there's some discussions there to be had this week with our staff, but you gained a lot of good information from today, and I'll get even more when I watch the film. And, when I'm done with this interview, I'm going to go watch the tape.
Sure. Aaron Roderick, BYU offensive coordinator, with us on BYU Sports Nation following training camp scrimmage number 1. You may have already answered this in part with your previous answers, but what's the number one thing you've learned about your team that maybe you didn't know for sure about essentially a week and a half into training camp?
There's probably not any big surprises about our team, but the fun thing about training camp and spring ball is there's always a few surprises, individual players who surprise you. And we've had a few of those. I don't know that those guys are necessarily game ready at this moment, but it's fun when you see a young player show you some signs that, hey, this guy might help us at some point this season, or maybe he's going to play in game 1, maybe it's going to be mid-season, but he's ahead of the other young guys. That's fun to see sometimes. And there's been a few of those.
So if you're comfortable naming names, who are some of those guys that have quote unquote surprised you?
Ethan Erickson is one who's had a good camp. He's, and he's behind some good tight ends. So I don't want to create a crazy expectation that he's going to have a huge impact right away, but he's earning I'm gaining a lot of confidence in him that he's going to be a good player for us. Parker Kingston is a guy who's shown up as just freshman who played quarterback in high school, and you'd never know it. He looks like a wide receiver and plays like one. And, again, I don't know when his time is going to come, but he's going to be a good player for us. And Trevin Osler would be one who really stands out. He's been playing left tackle as a true freshman. He's very athletic and looks good out there. And that's just a few names. I mean, there are others, but I enjoy that part of camp, is just seeing those guys emerge. And after our season last year, you never know when you're going to need those guys.
Yeah, let's stay with the pass catchers, because understandably a lot of attention has been paid to those guys with the likes of Puka Nacua and Gunnar Romney and Keanu Hill, Chase Roberts, Cody Epps. What have you seen from them in camp that lets you know that, okay, this group is, they're what we thought they were, which is really good. What are they doing in camp to show that?
Well, they're just getting a little better each day. I mean, it's a good, solid group. Puka and Gunnar obviously are proven, guys. I thought Keanu made a really good statement last year when he got his opportunities. He played well, and he's having a good camp as well. And then you're seeing Braden Cosper is a guy who's been in our receiver rotation every year for 3 years straight. And right before the first game, he got hurt, and he's had really bad luck. But he's someone we have a lot of confidence in. He's playing well. Chase Roberts is getting better every day. He has a lot of ability. And Cody Epps, same thing, similar to Cosper. Cody Epps is a guy who played as a true freshman, somebody we thought was going to play a big role last year, missed the whole season. He's back and playing well. So, I don't want to overstate it about those younger guys that haven't played a lot yet. I think all those guys are going to you're going to see them in games this year, kind of like what you saw out of Keanu last year. It's just a matter of when will their time come and how many snaps are they going to play in the first game and second game, and then does their role grow or shrink? That just, those things ebb and flow throughout the season. And you just have to see who's healthy each week, who's available to play, and you put together the best game plan you can with who's available.
Aaron Roderick with us on BYU Sports Nation. Just a few more before we wrap up, Coach. But because a lot of people didn't get to see the scrimmage today, through your eyes, what was the best individual play, the best single play you saw in the scrimmage today on offense?
Tanner Wall ran a really good route on a third down. He made a great play on it. Caught a touchdown pass from Cade Finnegan. It was an outstanding throw and catch, and that was the highlight of the day. Yeah, it was.
Okay, Jaron Hall.
Deep ball at the back corner of the end zone. He made a great catch.
Ooh. Okay. We may have to bother your video guys to see if they caught that one. There's an angle that wouldn't give too much away. But Jaron Hall has joked with us that the defense in practice, they do drop 8 a lot, and it's annoying as a quarterback because, it's dump off for 5 yards, dump it off to the right side for 7 yards. But he's like, I'll do it if that's what the defense is giving me. But they're trying to take away our big play capability. How do you approach that? Like if defenses are going to do drop 8 against you a lot, like what is the game plan against that? Because it's annoying, but I guess there's a way around it, right? What is that way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell you the game plan, but we don't get a lot of drop 8 because we run the ball so well. So not a lot of teams are going to drop 8 against us. They got to get people, close to the ball to try to stop our run game. So we don't see a ton of that. But what I will say is one of the frustrating things of fall camp is, you're not tackling to the ground. We're trying to play smart against each other. Our first offense and our first defense, we're trying to compete hard, be physical, but take care of each other, get to the first game healthy. And, so when you're doing that, some of those run plays in practice, we think we blocked the play pretty well and got, a decent amount of yardage, and then they'll blow the whistle for a 1-yard gain and everybody's like mad about it. So that's the back and forth of practice, but it's good for us to have to work through that. And our defense has done a great job of practicing the right way with us. And I think we've done the same thing for them. And when you get our best 11 out there on the field on defense, those guys are pretty good. Man, those linebackers fly around.
Sure. Yeah, the chirping on the hypotheticals because you can't tackle is really fun to watch between the offense and defense. They let their opinions and thoughts be known, and that's really fun to watch. Okay, last one for you here, Coach. The Associated Press Top 25 comes out on Monday, and I know that as a coach, you don't care a ton about it. Some of the guys seem to care about that, but if and when you see BYU pop up as a preseason AP Top 25 team, what runs through your mind?
Well, really, what I've tried to talk to our offense about is let's focus on where we're going to be at the end of the season. And what matters is our first game. We play South Florida. If you're ranked or not ranked or whatever, none of that matters if you're not ready to play in your first game and you get on there and don't take care of business. So our only focus right now is 100% South Florida. They have added a lot of good players. They gave us a heck of a game last year. I mean, they were tough. I was impressed. I was impressed with how hard they played for full 4 quarters. They could have packed it in at halftime down. I think they're down 21.
Yeah.
They came out, and what a statement about the character of those players in that program. And now I know they've added some transfers, and defensive coordinator is a veteran coach who's done a great job everywhere he's been. It's going to be a tough game. And so if you start thinking about other things that have nothing to do with that game, then you're limiting your chances to play well. And so all we're focused on is just let's go play well against South Florida, and that other stuff will take care of itself if you do what you're supposed to do and win games.
Fantastic. Aaron, we appreciate the time. I'll ask this one last thing. When you are trying to avoid the media poison, yet you have to do interviews, you have to, traverse through things like talking to me, and I get it. It's a pain in the neck. How do you balance that? How do you keep those things separated and compartmentalize?
Well, we just, we want to play with a lot of confidence. We want to be a team that when we step on the field, we believe in ourselves, and we're good, and we know we're good, but we have enough respect for the game to know that if you don't take care of business, UAB can beat you in a bowl game, if you're not ready to play. And, and that was a great lesson. And unfortunately, every once in a while, this game will humble you. And so, we're trying to have just a good balance of confidence in ourselves, but also enough humility to know that the game will humble you fast if you don't respect it. And that means, again, not looking at rankings or what somebody said about you, whether it was good or bad, what somebody said about you in the media or on social media or whatever. I mean, all that stuff is baloney. It's all about your next opponent and doing what it takes to win that game. And that's all we're focused on.
Well said. He is not a man of superstitions, but he is a man of fashionable hats. He is Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator. Coach, thanks so much for the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Great to talk to you.